So my name's Pauline, I'm at head office. We put these events on for women across Scotland. You don't have to be a member to join into these sessions. But obviously we'd love you to be a member because it's a lovely family that we have, and it's a great organisation. We've got institutes all across Scotland, and we've got more starting. Currently there's a few more starting. So if you're interested in finding out more about the SWI, then you can put your name in chat, and we can email you some information directly. If you'd rather talk to someone, you can phone head office, and you can look at our website, which is I'll put on the chat later on. I'll put the number and the website address on there. So SWI as an organisation look after the Royal Highland Show Handcrafts Pavilion each year, and we have a dedicated team of stewards and a committee that manage that event. So we work in conjunction with Royal Highland Show. So there's a team of ladies who, and you can correct me if I get anything wrong, Anne and Mary, but there's a team of ladies who work their pan in to basically bring all of the items that are sent in by participants from all across the world, really, aren't they? There's a global competition. So Anne, our national president, Anne Kerr, and our team work very hard to put all of these items on display, and they run the it's a 5-day show in amongst all the tractors and the animals and all those other things that happen at the Royal Highland Show. Now, the Royal Highland Show is a very prestigious thing to win, very prestigious. And our speaker tonight, Lou Washington, who is from Coldstream Institute in a group in an SWI group in the Borders, has not just taken a couple of prizes, but she romped home with the overall prize, and the overall winner of the Handcraft Pavilion, and she won 4 awards for her piece, which we'll talk about tonight. She'll talk about. I asked Lou to do this talk. Lou's quite new to Zoom; she hates it, but she'll talk tonight about what she really loves, and that's needle felting. Yeah. So I'm going to pass you over without any further ado to lovely Lou. Thank you very much, Lou. I'm just going to ask you to unmute, Lou. Lovely. Yes. Hello. Hello. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's good. Right. Do you want me to?
Well, what do you want to talk about first, Lou? I can see you've got some lovely things around you.
I mean, I can say how I got into felting to start with.
Yeah.
I originally trained like 30 years ago to be a fashion designer. That's what I always wanted to be. And I did all my courses and everything and passed and became a designer for Marks and Spencer's. And then I realized I hated designing. So I gave it all up and moved to New Zealand and became a sheep farmer, as you do.
Yes.
And then I've had a really varied career. I've done lots of different things, nothing creative. And then me and my partner decided we wanted to move to Scotland. He'd lived in Scotland before, and my family are originally from here. I'm originally from down south myself. I'm from Sussex. And we got a job in the Borders. And our boss said to us, there's going to be a lot of downtime. I'm a housekeeper in a big fishing lodge. And he said, I want you to have a think about what you would do with your spare time. And I thought, well, that's a strange thing to say. I'll just do whatever I want. And we did go away and we thought about it. And I always thought, well, I'd like to get back into handicrafts and things. I haven't done it in years because I've never had the time. And so I did. And the first thing I was doing was woodwork. And I was making little houses, and I wanted some trees for the gardens of the houses. And I'd heard about needle felting. So I bought myself some green wool and a needle, and I made some little houses. And I made the trees to go with them. And that's where I learned from. I didn't go to a course. I just started out and moved on from there. And I was very pleased with my early work, and then I look back at it now, and it's quite laughable, some of it. But at the time, I was really proud. I showed you earlier. This was my first owl that I made.
Yes, brilliant.
And I've done courses with sort of local groups, making owls and things like that. And then this is the owl that I entered into the Highland show.
Yes, it's amazing, amazing.
So we're on a completely different scale now.
Yes.
So again, I find it a really easy craft to do. There's no patterns or anything like that. I get an idea for what I want to make, and I just do it. I did it quite a bit in the early days. I made stuff for people and took orders and started doing stuff for shops. But I found it a bit too pressured. And I gave up, really, and I started doing other things. And then lockdown happened, and I hadn't done anything for a long time. And then we had our federation show, and we'd previously always done not particularly well. So we decided to have, between our whole group, we've got quite a lot of creatives in our group, and we decided to give it a go. So I picked up my needle again, and I'd done something for the group thing. And then I thought, well, perhaps I'd like to try one thing, because I'd got loads of wool left. So that's when I created my badger, which is this little fella.
Amazing, yes. So that's the badger before the show one, isn't it? Because I can see, because he doesn't have claws. Yeah, is that right?
Yep. So that one, and I put it in, and it never entered. I'd entered our local flower show, but I'd never entered a big show before.
Yeah.
And to my complete shock and horror, he got best in show at the Federation. I was just very surprised, and it just sort of spurred me on, and I thought, well, let's try the Highland show.
Yeah.
And I looked at what it was, and there was a section where it was needle felting, so I thought, well, I'll go for that one. And there was another one that was 3 pieces, so I went for that as well.
Yeah.
And so this is get it up. This was my main piece. I don't do things by halves normally.
No, it's massive, your main piece. Yeah, it's amazing.
Got the badger on there.
Beautiful. I've got some pictures of it as well, so we can really get in up close and personal. But it's brilliant to see the scale of that, because the scale was off the chart when we were in the actual show. Other people had made beautiful things, but they were much smaller in comparison. So it was really impressive.
I've been disqualified in the local competitions for going too large sometimes, so there was no dimensions on this, and so I thought, well, I'll just start and I'll see where I get. And I'd made them. I knew I wanted a badger on it again, but I didn't want to use the same one, so I did the first thing on there was the badger, and then it just grew, and I had to add extensions on because it got bigger and bigger.
I'm just going to share my screen while you talk, so that people can see the detail, because it's stunning. So
yeah, and it just grew. So I put the sort of silver birch in the middle, and then the silver birch was a bit bland. So I made the I wanted to because it was supposed to be sort of Scotland. Yeah. So I wanted to make it as Scottish as possible. So it had to be a red squirrel, and the bird on the top of the silver birch is a crested tit, which you only get up here. Yeah. There's pine martin, and then just putting in the ferns and the mushrooms and toadstools and things, and then obviously there had to be some thistles in there to really make it Scottish. Yeah. And
your moth's a Scottish moth, isn't it? I can't remember what it was called, but it's a Scottish moth.
But I had to do a bit of research and find what moths you get in Scottish woodlands. So again, it's trying to keep it sort of as authentic as I possibly could. I don't go for realism necessarily in my felting. It's slightly cartoony, but that's my style, and that's how I like doing things. I like I know with the first badger I did, the reaction most people did, it just made people smile.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lovely reaction, and that sort of makes it worthwhile, that whether you win or not, it's touched somebody, and that's really nice.
Yes.
So we were discussing this earlier, whether I would discuss it. The interesting thing is I entered 2 pieces to the Highland show, the owl being one of them, along with a pottery owl that I made and a clock that I made, and it was 3 birds.
I have a picture of that. I'm just gonna show that. Okay.
Yep.
So screen. So this was the trio, yeah.
Yeah, this is the trio. So the pottery owl is on the bottom right, then the felt owl, and at the back is a copper-faced clock with an owl on it as well. And I got disqualified.
Yeah,
which it was hard, but it was a lesson learned, and it was a lesson about how to read something, because it is supposed to be on a square board and not a round one, and I was the only one that put it on a round one. So I absolutely accept what happened. The judge herself was very upset because she wanted to award it a prize, but that's, you know, a lesson learned, that you really must read the descriptions on things.
Yeah,
and
such a shame when you've put. How long did this one take you to make?
Longer than the other one.
Yeah, because it's not much. Well, it's not more involved, but there's a lot of different processes involved in this one. Yeah.
Processes. So the clock itself is pressed copper work, which I went on a course last year with a lady called Bryony Knox in Edinburgh.
Oh yeah.
Learned how to do that, and then I did the woodwork around it because I like doing woodwork. So we made that. The pottery owl, I'm quite into pottery at the moment. That's my latest thing. I like learning new things. So the pottery owl, that probably takes the longest because there's so many processes and you have to wait in between. So hours wise, probably not so long, but that took a few months to put together.
Wow.
The barn owl itself probably took about a week to do. But I've got 3 lovely pieces. I mean, somebody actually wanted to buy the barn owl, the felted owl. And I wouldn't sell him. So he's still here with me, so he'll be staying here forever.
Great.
So yeah, it's learned, and it was winning was just, I was up in Edinburgh with my niece on the day that they phoned me, and we were walking around the Queen's Gallery at Holyrood, and the phone went and they told me that I'd won not 1 but 4 prizes for the.
So list them then, Lou. List them for us. What did you win?
Hang on, I have them here.
Great.
So that's first prize in the handicrafts.
Great.
Then which one comes next? Best exhibit in felt.
Brilliant.
And then that's the perpetual silver challenge for best overall exhibit. And then this was the one that sort of really got me, because my other half came up with me and he said, "You're Scottish champion." I was like, "Don't be silly. It's not Scottish champion," but it really does say that I'm Scottish champion.
Brilliant.
Really quite scary and a big honour, and sort of a first time of doing something like that is, I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
And whether people keep saying to me, "Would you do it again?" And I'm like, well, there's expectations now. No one knew who I was last time, and I just came in and just won everything. And now they'll be waiting to see what I turn up with. And I mean, we said we'd discuss the process, and it is a complicated process, and I don't know whether the SWI can get together and make it easier, but I mean, because my piece was so big, you can obviously post things up, which would make it an awful lot easier, but with pottery and the size of my piece, I couldn't post it.
No.
So it was a case of, we had to go up, I think it's a week before, the Friday before, we had to go up and drop it off, and all the lovely ladies there were brilliant, and met us, and no one else knew what they were doing on site, but the SWI did.
Good.
And we finally found the tent where they'd shoved us in a corner, but hey ho. And we handed them over, and then we'd already booked tickets for the Thursday, so we went up again on the Thursday, and it's an hour and a half drive from where we are. And then, because I I went and won, I had to go back again on the Saturday to collect my prizes. And then you have to go back again on the Tuesday to collect everything. Unfortunately, they had done the engraving on the trophy. Otherwise, you have to go back again and collect that because they won't post them out. So it's a lot, not just a lot of work to make, but it is a lot of work to enter. And whether, you know, as rurals, we can all get together and, you know, have a drop point and things like that.
Yeah, that would be.
And then you might get more people entering.
Yes, yeah. Because I think you know, this year we had a good amount of entries, you know, a good selection of entries, but not as much as we had pre-COVID. So
No.
obviously there's been a little bit of a hiatus and a different way of working over COVID for the Royal Highland Show. So so really this was the first year of kind of getting back to everything. But no matter what, you would have won overall, because it was just such a stunning piece of work. You know, it's not like it was just because there weren't that many entries. It was just.
No, I think some,
you know,
quality high, but the quantity was low.
Yes. So what tips would you give to people who wanted to enter the show for next year?
Just go for it. I mean, in the class that I was in, there was I think it was the lady that came second. Her mum was one of the people that was on the stand for the SWI. Mm-hmm. She brought her piece in and she said, oh, well, I'm going to lose to that. But I'm glad she still put her piece in. Yeah. Because it's not about who's the best or anything. It's just really lovely. It was lovely
to see everything. Yeah. Lovely to see everything.
So kind in the tent. And, you know, I've met new people. I've made new friends. Being judged is hard. Mm-hmm. And if you don't win, it's, you know, and I couldn't have had more extremes. Yeah. You know, I don't know if anybody's entered before and been disqualified and then won the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The sublime and the ridiculous. It's so yeah, I just think go for it and read the leaflet, really read, because it normally is a square cake board. And there's lots of things in there and you can do any craft. And the pleasure I've got out of doing it, and, you know, okay, so I won, and I get that's a high, but even if I hadn't, I mean, the show that I went to this week, I did win the handicraft section, but a couple of my pieces didn't figure at all. Yeah. Because it was different crafts. So I'm not, you know, I'm good at needlefelting. I'm not so good at other things, but I like to give it a go. And I won the only overall handicrafts because I had to go at everything. And I think it's good to, you know, push yourself out of the box and, you know, out of your comfort zone and just try it.
Yeah, absolutely. What I thought we might do now, Lou, is look through your, because you've sent me lots of pictures to share of your sort of progression. So when you know the early days and up to getting better. So maybe if I can share my screen and we can look through them, that would be great. Go ahead. Hang on a sec, just get them ready. Right. Amongst yourself while I'm doing this. So
the oldest ones of these will be 5 years ago. So I've been felting for 5 years.
Yeah. So yeah, these are the ones. Sorry about that. Got that many things to open and do. So okay, so these are your early days, yeah?
Yep. So these are the trees. As I said, this is where I was making the little wooden houses and everything, and I wanted trees. So I mean, I look at it now and there's holes in it and everything, but at the time I was really pleased with that. So that's early days. I think there's some more of our houses.
Yes, lovely. Toadstools seem to be a common theme, yeah?
My mum always loved toadstools. I don't know why. So I always used to make, everything I made always had toadstools on it. So I guess it's a bit of a signature for me there, maybe.
Yeah, lovely. Well, these are lovely pieces. I like the tweeds and everything. It's lovely.
Yeah, so I used to make a lot of these. Again, I do the odd craft fair, but not many, and I haven't done one in years because I find if you're pushed to do things, I struggle. Whereas I like the challenge of a show where somebody tells you this is what you've got to do, and then you've got to rise to that challenge rather than keep coming up with new things. And although I'm pretty good at coming up with reasonably new things, so so we went from doing the woodwork. I'd now found that I could needle felt, and I started needle felting. So
yes, great. And what other crafts do you enjoy doing? I mean, you said that you entered a few different things in the recent show.
I went through a stage where I was doing pyrography, so I quite like doing. I like woodwork. I do pottery.
Yeah. Just to explain what pyrography is for people who might not know.
Burning onto wood, so you have almost like a pen that burns, and you draw with the pen. I haven't got anything here at the moment, but so yeah, I would do chopping boards and things like that, and again, all sorts of things. And people, I took a lot of commissions for dogs. So people, if you can do anything with dogs, people love it. So everybody's dog ends up on a cutting board. So I went through that. As I said, I do pottery quite a lot now. What else do I do? I obviously sew, I paint, I draw.
Yeah.
I'll give most things a go. I can't knit and I can't crochet. Everyone around me loves the fact that I won't do that because it gives them a chance to win things.
Great.
Great. They're too precise for me. I'm a bit more
broad brush strokes kind of person.
No, sitting reading a pattern for that is not my idea of.
No.
So crochet.
Great. I'm just going to share the your next stage, as it were. So that this is
doing needle felting. So those are some birds that I did.
And then so were these things that you sold, Lou? Is it did you do them for
the craft fair? These were all little animals that were in an egg box. So I guess that's probably the first badges I made and the first owls. They all, and I sold them as a box of little critters in a thing. So yeah, these were all, I mean, it was really good fun at the time, and it was a really good way to start out. Pandas.
Yeah.
And again, it's a learning process. So
it's an evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, I look back now and I think, blimey, that was pretty basic, but you've got to learn somewhere. And I never went on a course. I just taught myself. And if there was somebody had asked me to make a dog and it needed curly hair, and so I needed curly wool, and you can buy some, but it wasn't the right color. So I watched a YouTube thing on how to actually, wet wool and wind it round a pencil, and then you leave it overnight and you end up with curly wool. So
great.
You learn that. So I pretty much taught myself it. And you learn that if you're making something bigger, it needs almost like a skeleton, and that's out of pipe cleaners. And just it's a constant learning process. And the thing I like about needle felting, there's kind of no right way and wrong way. It's what you want to do. So I've made up my own methods. They may not be methods that other people use, but it's how I like to do it. Yeah.
So when you're talking about the armature for the piece, when you make it out of pipe cleaners, do you mean that so your owl there, is that pipe cleaners in the wings?
He's got pipe cleaners in the wings, and there's this wee fella.
Yeah, he's great.
He wouldn't stand up if he was just wool. So you would just make, so I've got some pipe cleaners here. You would just pretty much give him some legs.
Yes.
At either end, twist it together, and you just end up with a very basic, back, legs, head, and then you felt round that. And it just gives a bit more stability as you're going along.
Yeah, great. And tell us how long your the owl that's there with you. How long would that have taken to make, you think?
The owl took about a week because that's actually got quite a lot in it. But when I say a week, I was probably doing it maybe 3-4 hours a week.
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours a day, a day or a week?
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours a day, maybe. Some
Yeah.
days nothing. So yeah, he was about a week. He was pretty complicated.
Yes, yeah.
And the woodland scene, I think it took me about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, there was a piece I made at the weekend, well, for a show at the weekend, if I hold that up.
Oh, wow, that's great. Yeah.
Draft excluder.
Yeah, this is for a large door. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, yeah, brilliant.
And that's a wet felted base. So not felting with needles, but felting with water and friction. And then felting on top of it. And that took me 2 days.
Yeah.
So that's pretty quick.
Yeah, wow. Wow. But you've obviously speeded up a lot since your early days, because
before, you know, one of those little owls that would have taken me a couple of hours.
Yes, yeah.
Which when you look at it now, it's just a blob.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's great. And have you got any tips? Because I know that a lot of people stab themselves and all sorts of things like that with the needles. Any tips to share about how to stop that?
No, you'll stab yourself. I still stab myself. They say you're not through needle felt until you have stabbed yourself.
Yeah.
And I think wear your glasses. That helps. Then you do get your hand in. I think making the cows the other day, I was being a bit lazy, hadn't put my glasses on, and I think every half an hour I was screaming out in pain, and the needles are sharp and they hurt.
Yes, yeah. And I read somewhere that if you have gloves on, that keeps the blood in, so it keeps the blood. You still stab yourself, but it keeps the blood in the glove.
I mean, you get like little leather finger socks that go on, but I can't hold things.
No.
I've got I've got lupus, so I get like arthritis symptoms in my hands.
Yeah.
So I need to be able to. I've got limited grip anyhow, so sticking things all over my fingers doesn't help me.
No.
So I just put up with the holes in my finger.
Yeah. And the piece behind you, Lou, is that wet felt then?
It was wet felted at the top. This was my first ever wet felting piece.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom,
yeah.
It's got similar cows to the one on the thing, so that's needle felted onto wet felt.
Yeah.
This is another piece. This has been up at headquarters for a long time. We had put stuff in the cabinet.
Yes.
And then it got left up there because of COVID.
Oh,
so this
great.
My cat.
Yeah.
And it's actually
it's a purse. Brilliant.
I couldn't find anything.
It's not hugely practical, Lou, but it's great.
And the cat actually does exist. He's on the sofa at the moment.
Oh, is it? Oh, brilliant.
And Norman sort of rules the house. And you can, a lot of people for things like whiskers will use horsehair, but I'm slightly odd. And when Norman sheds his whiskers, I keep them. I remember that I had loads of whiskers of his. So fake Norman has actually got real Norman whiskers.
Brilliant.
Slightly odd.
Slightly odd, but lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the next set of pictures now. You can tell us a wee bit about these. These are when you're in your stride, yeah?
Yes, so this was sort of, I'd set up a little Facebook page for sort of family and friends, and then people would say, can you do this? So that was a bull terrier that I'd made for somebody. And as I said, once you start doing dogs and cats, then everybody wants one. Cats are far more difficult. It's sort of generally accepted in the needle felting world that if you can do a cat, you do it well, because they're just horrendous. Dogs are a lot easier. So that was sort of, it's not really life like the bull terrier, but I quite like that. And then I start getting slightly more realistic with it. So that's a Westie.
Yeah, great.
And they've all got little collars on and things like that.
Yeah.
I got a request for a cow, a lamb, and a cat. which was a really strange request, but I decided to have a cow with an udder because I just thought it had to have an udder.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like the finer details on things.
Yes, yeah.
That's the cow you've just seen.
Yeah, he's great. Great.
So that's
And this one, I absolutely love this one. It's just fabulous.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you can see now I'm getting better at this point.
Yeah, it's the definition between the hair of the body and the ears and the muzzle is just they just look real.
Yeah, they're getting there. Yeah.
Says the perfectionist. Yeah, they're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think again the thing is I look at other people's work online and everything, and you see some that are just awesome.
Mine
are good.
Yeah,
they're good.
Yeah.
Not
awesome.
I'm still very much a hobby felter. I'm not a. That's there's a very famous wet felter called Moy McKay or Mackay, and she does some books and things. So I did buy one of her books, and that is a direct copy. It's a tutorial that she did. Yes. So that was wet felting and learning how to do it her style. So I did some of that. I don't do so much wet felting.
No, it's lovely. And then these, I love these.
Yeah.
Valley
Black sheep, my favorite sheep.
Yeah, they're amazing sheep, aren't they?
Yeah. So again, we live in the borders. People like sheep around, sheep and cows.
Yeah.
If you do sheep and coos, and they'll So again, these were for a craft show.
Yeah.
Week.
So the one on the right, have you done much? Is that you've got a bit of the wool? Have you done anything to that wool, or is that a Valley Black Needs wool?
No, it's just I think it's probably a Corriedale actually, rather than a Valley. It's just the wool that I buy. You can buy all sorts of different wools, and again, once you get into needle felting, you start learning what the different wools are. So you use what's called core wool for the base. So when I'm making a big piece, the inside of it is just plain wool. It's it has been washed, but it's had no processes done to it. It's not dyed. But you use that as bulk, and then you use different wools on top. So a lot of the fur on things and things like that will be. This is where my menopause brain will hit. I can't remember. But a finer wool, and then there's things like Corriedale, and then you get it, and it's called either slithers, and it's top wool, and it's called either slithers, which is really fine when you pull it. It's like gossamer, or you can get wool that's actually carded, so that it's already half felted. So depending on what effects you want will depend on what wool you want. And like with the Valet there, that will be a wool. You can buy wool that hasn't been carded or turned into slithers, so you still get the curls and things like that. And on these Highland cows I've got in front of me here, they've got some of that on there, so you can get different effects. And are you one of those mad people that picks up wool when you go out in the country? Do you no, do you not get it off the fences and things like that? No, I've got a sheep in the field next to my house, and I don't even go in there. So no, I'm a sad person, and I buy it all. That's fine. That's fine. This is lovely. This is so this is this a flat? It's a more or less a flat piece, but you've got the so that would be like a 2D piece of felting. So similar to the sheep there, but flatter. And I just adore puffins. I'm puffin mad. So there's normally a puffin in something. So Well, I like this one because the color, there's subtle color changes. It's not one block of color. It's subtle color changes. Really nice. You can buy wools that have got they're already blended, or you can actually blend the wools yourself, and you can buy some expensive carders, or you can just buy some very cheap combs from Pets at Home for grooming cats. And they're about £5 as opposed to a few hundred. And you can blend wools with those at home, and to be honest, you don't need to blend big pieces. So much easier and cheaper doing it that way. So that's a handy hint. Great. And then you've got your lovely cat here.
which we've got that just looks lovely, looks real.
Yep. So again, somebody's cat and they wanted it made. So
Yeah.
and again,
Do people
how
send
you
pictures then and say, can you make this, please?
yeah, absolutely. And you're like, oh, great. And they'll send you one picture. So, and you need a picture of every single angle of the cat, and
Of course you
down
do.
to the point where I'll do the paws and things like that. So you need to know what color their paw pads are. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And the dogs, was that commissioned too?
commission as well. Somebody that had got German Shepherds that wanted the German Shepherds done. I
Lovely.
really enjoyed those, and on the back, I think I got the colors pretty good on those. I was really quite chuffed with those two. That's when I sort of thought, now I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there,
No.
was that like a breakthrough moment then where you thought, okay,
I think those two, it was just sort of the stance of the dog, and it was making it really, it's observing rather than,
yeah,
you know, making it up in your head. It was actually looking at how they stand, and their back ends are lower than their front ends and things like that. So no, that was and getting the wispy bits right and everything hits. Yeah, that was a bit of a breakthrough with those.
Yeah. Presumably this one wasn't a pet.
No, I just like whales. It's one of my weird things is that I'm actually a qualified marine life paramedic.
Oh, fab. So you go out and rescue things.
I go out on whale and seal rescues.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, that's a great job to do. And a porpoise. Is that a porpoise or a dolphin?
Well, it's a porpoise or a dolphin. One of the, it's just, I think I was just into making sea life at that particular point. It's so he was cute.
Lovely. And in this I love this because it shows your I think it shows your personality, because the eyes are brilliant. You know, they just look like two very personable owls.
Yeah. No, I love doing owls, and you can see sort of progression from the first little owls up to these, and then on to the next one. But this was a bit of a breakthrough, getting something that's looking more like it's an owl.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
Good.
And your dragon.
Yeah, so that was
I see you've got these claws. These claws are starting, because the other ones I can see you've used wire, but this is like your claws. So how do you do these claws then?
So again, originally with claws it was wire, and with noses I would just buy toy noses.
Yeah.
And then it's starting to make my own noses. So all my noses on my badgers now, and all the claws I make myself. The beak on the owls I make myself now, and they're all made out of Fimo.
Oh right, what? So that's like a putty that you put in the oven.
Like,
is that right?
Basically, it's like plasticine, but when you bake it at a very low temperature, it turns solid. So I'll have each claw and put wire into them, and then I bake them for about 20 minutes, and they come out and they're solid. And then you can just wire them into the item that you're making, and then you'll get a nose that's exactly the right size, or claws that are the right color and things like that. So
you use the wire as part of the armature then. So the claw is made at the end of the wire, and then you wire them in. Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Around it to actually add them in. Yeah.
And your bunnies.
Again, this was for a shop that I was putting stuff into, and I think this is the point where I actually kind of go off felting, because I start getting lots of orders, and you've got to make 10 of this and 10 of that, and that's just not me.
Not your bag.
No, it became very process driven, and I don't do it for the money. I never charged enough anyhow.
So how much would you have charged for these, do you think?
I think there was £7.50.
Oh, that's too little. Yeah.
But I just enjoy sitting making them. But then once it's stopped being fun and everything, and I pulled out of the shop not long after this, actually, because I didn't want to do that anymore. And I've got a full-time job as well, so it's really hard to do things like that. And creatively, it just wasn't very stimulating, and it just becomes quite, you've got to push yourself to do it, and then it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. And these are fabulous owls and hares and rabbits. Lovely.
So that would be in the shop when I'd sent them all up there to the shop. It was up in Gillen. That fell through.
Very nice.
And yeah, it was fun at the time, but it's that's a Herdwick sheep.
Yes, lovely. I could tell it was a Herdwick because of the background colour. And he's lovely, or she's lovely.
Yeah, cows.
Mhm.
Always there's two somewhere.
So again, you've blended the colours in the nose and the ears there.
Actually, that pink is a wool that comes like that. So again, there's lots of wools out there that are sort of pre-blended, and that's supposed to have almost like a tweed effect. So it's got sort of clumps of wool in it like tweed would have. So yeah, that's a pre-blended one, that one.
Yes, yeah, lovely. And then Peggy. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't like selling her, actually. I wanted to keep her.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
About her. The years, I think.
And I think this is the last one that I've got in this set.
I think it's probably the last thing that I made before I gave up. That was a commission for a friend of mine wanted a rabbit, a mountain hare for her sister's Christmas present. So I made that, and I think that's probably the last thing I'd made before lockdown, and quite a bit before lockdown. I don't think lockdown put me off. I think I needed a rest from felting. I'd been there and done it, and I needed something to bring me back, and that's what the Highland Show did.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, thank you very much, Lou. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask people to put the hand up if they want to ask a question. But before we go to questions, I'd like to just put a little poll up, and it's only got 6 questions in it, so it won't take very long, and it's completely anonymous, so you can say what you want. But it's just to see where you found us from, and if you're going to come back and see any more and that kind of thing. So can you see the poll now, guys? Yes,
Yep.
you can see it. Great. Okay. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that, and then we can go to Q&A. Just give you a few more minutes, guys. I think see most of you have filled it in, but there's a few people still too. Okay, nearly done. So I see some of you have put your hands up already. So if you have a question and you'd like to ask it, if you remember what I said earlier about the reactions button, either at the bottom of your screen or on the top right if you're on an iPad. I see I've got a few people asking questions, so I'll just take you as you come, and if you can't do that, just say Pauline. Make sure you're unmuted at that point. Just say Pauline, and then I'll come to you once I've gone through all the people that have put their hands up. Okay. So thank you very much for filling in the survey. I can see that there's still a few people still to do, but I'm going to start with a question. So, hello, Jean Shaw. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi.
Hello,
That
Jean.
was very interesting. Thank you very much. It was really, really good, Lou. Sorry I wasn't at the Highland show to see them. Saw the pictures and was so jealous. But my question is, how do you know what needle to use? Because they've all got the different colours of needles on the top, different colours on the top for supposed to be different functions. And I just tend to use the same needle all the time.
As do I. I tend to use the ones that are multi-purpose needles. So it's a red one and a green one. And to be honest, I've got all the others and I've never used them. I do find it pays to actually buy better needles. I've bought cheap needles before and they go blunt or they break. But yeah, I pretty much just use the red and green ones, which are the multi-purpose ones. But like you say, there's about 20 different needles that do all sorts of things. And I don't find, I've tried them and I don't see the point of them. I just stick to the green and red.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
And Jean, whereabouts in the country are you, just so we get an idea?
Ayrshire, near Laughlin in Ayrshire.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah. Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Not far away from Anne.
Not far from Anne. Great. Anne, our national president. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thanks, Jean. So I'm going to now go to Fatima. So I ask you to unmute, Fatima.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
First, I want to say thank you and congratulations this organization. I'm very happy that I found this on the website.
Good, good.
I make felting, wet felting for several years, but I'm very low level. And I'm completely fascinated with your project, Flo.
Yeah.
Thank you for this moment because I came late because I came from another meeting and I go to another meeting in 10 minutes. But I just, the minutes that I was here, I'm completely fascinated. My first question, I'm participating from Portugal. I don't know
fabulous. Hello. Well done. Well done.
Okay. But normally I do felting in Holland because my husband is Dutch. And I belong to a group in Holland that they are very excited with that. They would love to participate. When I just signed, I didn't know that I was coming for this great evening. Thank you very much. And my first question or my question is how I know more in the future and how, because I understood that this is recorded, how we can see this later. Because I would go more deep and deep because I don't like so much animals or these kind of things. Knitting, I knit a lot, but anyway, I love this. Thank you very much, and I would like to continue to see more about it.
Yeah. So I've just put in the chat, Fatima. I've put in the chat that we share these sessions on YouTube. So we have a channel on YouTube called Scottish Women's Institutes TV. Okay. And that's where you'll see this will go up in about a week's time, but we've got lots and lots of other things there that you can roam around and see what all the other things that we've been doing. We've got a lot of Skillshare sessions. We have knitting. If you like to knit,
I love to knit.
Yeah. So there's a special one that was very popular, which was on Sanker gloves. Now Sanker is a small town in Scotland. In Dumfriesshire, and there's this very specific style of knitting there, and so we did a great session, a 6-week session or 5-week session of knitting Sanker. So that's all on there as well. So you can maybe have a look at it
in this link. Okay, I shall have a look. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you, Fatima.
In 20 minutes I leave and hopefully see you again.
We hopefully see you again. Great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go to Rosalie now. Hi, Rosalie.
Hi, thank you very much. I really enjoyed your presentation and seeing your wonderful productions. And it was really nice seeing the progression from the beginning to where you are now. And I would just like, I've done some needle felting in the past, and like me, like you, I have taught myself from videos and things like that. And I just wondered whether you and the SWI would consider you teaching on a weekend course. The SWI has, and I've been on several weekend courses for different things, and they're a very good way of learning. And I think this would lend itself to a weekend course so that people could get a little bit of instruction and support in learning to do needle felting, because it is quite lonely when you learn it from YouTube or from from just trying it out. And of course, you do need to try it out, but there are sort of little hints that you can get from people like yourself, and I would certainly be very interested in attending the course.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Let's investigate that. We'll give Lou a big wad of money off screen, okay? And we'll try and make that happen.
No, I think I'd be interested to look into it, and I've done courses before, but they've only ever been for a couple of hours, and you're probably aware a couple of hours is pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear Rosalie.
Yeah, a weekend from a Friday sort of afternoon or evening to a Sunday lunchtime is a good length of time, because then you could complete a project potentially, and really learn a lot of technique, and that would be really good. Just on the basis of gloves, I wear tight fitting leather gloves.
Right.
And that works for me. And I'm a retired doctor, so I'm really used to doing things with gloves.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me to actually wear gloves, so.
Yeah, no, I whatever works for you. As I said, I know a lot of people wear these little leather socks on their fingers and find it fine. It's just, I think I've got less sensitivity in my hands and everything. I'm better off.
Yeah. I've got hypersensitive fingers, so I prefer to not have them stabbed too often.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but really tight fitting leather gloves really stop. So rubber gloves are no good, and cotton gloves are no good. But really tight fitting leather gloves are good, because it really stops the needle from going through.
Okay, that's worth knowing. Thank you. Great,
thank you very much, Rosalie. You're in Perth and Kinross, yeah, Ochterardder, yeah.
I am in Perth and Kinross. I actually live in St Meadows, but I go to Ochterardder Institute, yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, does anyone else have any more questions? If so, just shout and I'll find you. I might take you a wee while to find you, but Jean, you've got that was a clap, Jean. You've asked your question, haven't you? Has anyone else got anything, or should we send Lou off into the night to stab something else? I think we're going to do that, Lou. We're going to let you go and stab something. Do you just do it kind of every night, Lou? Do you just kind of watch TV or do something and listen to the radio and sit with your needles?
Yeah, so I'm going to take a rest from it for a bit.
Yeah,
I've done so much over the summer. It's just I need a bit of a break from it, and then I've already seen the schedule for next year's show, so we're currently on Pinterest searching for ideas.
Yeah, great. And if anybody wants to see the schedule for next year, it is on our website, which is I've put in the chat, so the swi.org.uk. So the schedule for the Royal Highland Show is on there. And we look forward to seeing many more applications this year, entries, and in all sorts of different classes. But we won't be telling you what ones Lou's entered, because that might put you off.
If I've proved anything, it's that anybody can enter and win.